Good. All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our regular public council meeting for Tuesday, October 1st, 2024. Here in the town of Torbay. First up, new business, Councillor Tapper.
Pass.
Pass. Councillor Manning.
Pass.
Councillor Pollard.
Pass.
Deputy Mayor.
Pass.
Okay, I just got a thanks. All right, anybody want to get on the first Q&A? I don't see no Q&A people here. I got presentation people. All right, could I get a motion to adopt the agenda as amended, please?
Move.
Second.
1 second, Your Worship.
Yeah.
There's an additional motion to go in.
Yeah, we'll add that.
Yes.
There's a motion from planning, land use
Yep.
development. All right, make a note. We're adding that to the agenda. Okay, now a motion.
Moved.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Thank you.
Sorry about that.
No worries. We have a regular public council meeting minutes from September 16th. Could I get a motion to adopt those, please?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any errors or omissions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, carried. Councillor Pollard, don't forget to turn on your microphone. We got a special public council minutes for September 26th. Motion to adopt, please.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Errors or omissions? Is there any motions in that? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, carried. Thank you. Conflict of interest, you got your little sheet there. 1593 Torbay Road and 454 Bowling Line. If you have any conflict to declare, let us know when the item comes up. All right, proclamations, presentations, Q&A. First proclamation for Fire Prevention Week. Chief is here, and I know that Ray is here as well, so turn it over to Councillor Manning. Carry on.
Okay. 2024 Fire Prevention Week Proclamation. Whereas the town of Torbay of Newfoundland and Labrador is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living in and visiting Newfoundland and Labrador. And whereas fire is a serious public safety concern both locally and nationally, and homes are the locations where people are at greatest risk from fire. And whereas roughly half of fire deaths happen in homes, with either no smoke alarms or with no working smoke alarms. And whereas working smoke alarms reduce the risk of dying in reported home fires almost in half. And whereas smoke alarms sense smoke well before you can, alerting you to danger in the event of fire, in which you may have as little as 2 minutes to escape safely. And whereas town of Torbay residents should install smoke alarms in every sleeping room, outside each separate sleeping area, and on every level of the home. And whereas town of Torbay residents will make sure their smoke alarms meet the needs of all their family members, including those with sensory or physical disabilities. And whereas town of Torbay residents should test smoke alarms at least once a month. Whereas residents who have planned and practiced a home fire escape plan are more prepared and will therefore be more likely to survive a fire. And whereas town of Torbay first responders are dedicated to reducing the occurrence of home fires and home fire injuries through prevention and protection education. And whereas town of Torbay residents are responsible to public education measures and are able to take personal steps to increase their safety from fire, especially in their homes. And whereas the 2024 Fire Prevention Week theme, Smoke Alarms, Make Them Work For You, serves to remind us the importance of having working smoke alarms in the home.
Therefore, I, Craig Scott, Mayor of the town of Torbay, do hereby proclaim October 6th to the 12th, 2024 as Fire Prevention Week. And I urge all the people of the town of Torbay to ensure their homes have working smoke alarms and to support the many public safety activities and efforts of the town of Torbay and Newfoundland and Labrador's fire and emergency services. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Comments?
Yeah, I think we should consider ourselves privileged to have this force, and I call it a force because they are in our community this last over 50 years now. And with the things you see on TV, more recently last week, the hurricane that went through the States, and the first responders that were on the job and still are, and will be for a good while yet, I'm not sure how our firefighters, when they see these disasters, what they think. You know, someday they'll be called out, and obviously, like I say, they're well trained and well versed, and I think we should, be proud of the men and women that we have in this force in Torbay.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Brendan?
And I'll certainly second everything Councillor Tapper said. And being as a fairly new nanny type thing, I have a grandson now just started school, so I mean, the education that our fire department puts out there to the public and goes to the different homes around and the schools and such, the dedication and commitment is just there to be seen, and I'm just so thankful to have them all there. They all work really hard, and as I said, the dedication and commitment is above and beyond. So thank you.
Anyone else? Chief and Fire Prevention Officer, you want to come up and say a few words about Fire Prevention Week? I got a question for you. So in this, it talks about having working smoke detectors, right? So the other night, my smoke detector was working because it went off in the middle of the night for nothing. So I'm assuming that means that my smoke detector is probably ready to be replaced. I was thinking, my son is downstairs cooking again at 2 o'clock in the morning, but no, it wasn't the case.
There's a date on your smoke detector somewhere, either on the side or once you take it off on the back side of it. They'll tell you what the date that it expires by. Most of them is 10 years. So once after 10 years, or once it gets close to that 10 years, it will start beeping to acknowledge that it is close to its expiry date. There is new ones on the market now that do have a 10-year lifespan that you don't have to change the battery. So you can just install them and not have to change the battery for 10 years. So it depends on the make and model that you have, but yeah.
Ah, thank you.
It will be an expiry date on there somewhere.
All right. Right?
Yeah, well, I wanted to bring the council's attention the activities that we have planned for the town of Torbay for Fire Prevention Week, which starts on October 6th, which is a Sunday, which you've already mentioned earlier. You will be at the parade, and we look forward to having you there. That's one of our, I guess, the kickoff to each of our fire prevention weeks. Every year, as we have a parade of emergency vehicles right through the town of Torbay, and we go through some of the newer subdivisions here, and then make our way to Flat Rock, do a few loops down through Wine Gap Road and some of the subdivisions there before we meet up with the Pooch Cove Fire Department for their parade. So we look forward to that. Tell everybody to keep an ear out for the sirens and see the lights, and we usually try to get through as many of the areas of Torbay that are populated right now. So that's our activities for Sunday, the kickoff of it. On Monday, our firefighters and Sparky will be welcoming the children of Holy Trinity Elementary to school. And they really look forward to that, getting off the bus and having Sparky there to give some high fives to, and our firefighters as well. But we know Sparky is probably the main traction there.
He's more popular than Santa Claus.
He is very. After that, we'll probably duck into a couple of the daycares that we have nearby here as well, just to say hello to the kids that are there. They always enjoy seeing Sparky come along. On Tuesday, part of, I guess, what Councillor Manning was saying about doing the inspections and that, making sure that the town is taking care of its the businesses and the commercial buildings, and that we'll be doing fire and life safety inspections of all 3 schools. So we'll be going in there and testing the the systems and that to make sure they have everything in place and that they're working correctly for like emergency lighting, fire doors, that kind of thing, and that they're maintaining the school in a proper, safe manner for all of the children. So we'll be going to Holy Trinity Elementary, Juniper Ridge Intermediate, and also the Holy Trinity High. On Wednesday, I'll be doing a presentation to the grade 5s at Juniper Ridge Intermediate. That'll be for most of the day because I believe they have about 6 classes there that I'll have to go through. I'll be doing a presentation, of course, around the theme of Fire Prevention Week, which is smoke alarms, and to make the kids aware of it. I think it's very important to, like Councillor Manning had said, is start with the education piece and with the children young like that, get them educated around fire and life safety for them to be able to bring it home to their families and that. So we'll be talking a bit about that and also about creating a fire escape plan. In the evening of Wednesday, October the 9th, we have our open house in Flat Rock at the Flat Rock Station. All right, so you're more than welcome to come down to that. We'll have all of our trucks out there for the residents of Flat Rock to take a look through. We'll have refreshments. We'll have a few activities for the kids and some takeaways for them, you know, some information that about Fire Prevention Week theme, and we'll also have Sparky there. On Thursday, I'll be back at the Juniper Ridge School doing presentations to the grade 6 classes on the same theme around smoke alarms and creating a home escape plan for the kids. And in the evening of Thursday the 10th, we'll be having our own open house here at the Torbay station, where we'll have our trucks for the residents to take a look through, have some pictures, get some pictures with Sparky. We'll have some refreshments. We have a few activities for the kids. We have like a knockdown house that the kids really enjoy, using the fire hose to knock down the fire and that. Not a real fire now, but just a pretend one, but they enjoy it. And then on Friday, we're going to I guess, check in on the schools again, to check the readiness of the students with doing fire drills in all 3 schools. So we'll be to Holy Trinity Elementary, we'll go to the Holy Trinity High, and then up to Juniper Ridge to do some fire drills and make sure that they get out safely. They've never had a problem with that before. They're always out in plenty of time. I think the usual time is around 2 minutes, just a little over 2 minutes is usually what it takes for them to get out and all organized in their muster stations, and for their teachers to have them all accounted for, which is perfect time for them. And then last but not least, we'll be at the elementary school and doing a what's called the Sparky's World Series of Fire Safety. It's a quiz game for 2 grade 4 classes to face off against one another and see who knows the most about fire and life safety. It's very kids oriented in that, so it's talking about like things that happen in your house. Would you consider this safe or not? And when they get the question right, they earn so many runs on, it's based on baseball, so they get so many runs around the bases and that. And then the winning team, later on, before the end of the year, gets presented with a trophy for their classroom and a little bit of snacks and that. So we'll also be drawing for the fire chief for a day, which is for all the students at Holy Trinity Elementary. One lucky student will be our fire chief for a day, and they'll be treated to a wonderful day, being escorted to school in our fire truck along with their family. They'll have their own set of bunker gear to be able to go into the class. They'll have a t-shirt with fire chief on it that we'll give them. And we usually like to bring them out lunchtime then for a bit of McDonald's and that, bring their family along. So they really enjoy that. And rolling up to school with the lights and sirens going and that. Yeah, it's, I like that. Yeah, well, it's better than a limo. And that's everything that's planned right now.
Right on, excellent. I'll jump up now and
Sure.
We'll get a Polaroid. I only say that because we got young people here, and I bet you they don't know what it is. It was a tremendous advancement in photography when I was a kid. You could take a picture and a little sheet would come out, and you could stand here and watch it and it would develop in front of your eyes. Not like all the tools that you guys got now.
So exciting. What
You're dating yourself.
Oh, I used to have one, yeah, I know. There's Gates one for Christmas.
I say that because I was watching Rocky the other night, and he asked Hulk Hogan to come over.
Okay, there you go.
Okay. All right. It's not too bad there.
Although I probably would have made it prettier.
Got everyone laughing.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Job well done.
All right.
Sometimes, I'm sure.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Ray.
Thank you.
Bradley?
Thanks, fellas.
All right. All right, next on the agenda. Proclamation for National Breastfeeding Week 2024, and Deputy Mayor is going to do the honors.
Okay, National Breastfeeding Week, October the 1st to the 7th, 2024. Whereas breastfeeding is recommended for optimal nutrition and healthy growth and development in the early months and years of life, and is fundamental to the well-being and prosperity of communities. And whereas breastfeeding has an impact on lifelong health, with exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months and continued breastfeeding for 2 years and beyond, ensuring that mothers and children receive maximum health benefits. And whereas breastfeeding is one of the most cost-effective prevention strategies for many infections and chronic and acute diseases, and whereas infant feeding is one of the most important decisions that a new family makes, and whereas parents need the support of family, friends, government, and health authorities, municipalities, community groups and organizations, businesses and employers, and whereas National Breastfeeding Week provides an opportunity for people to celebrate and to raise public awareness about the importance of breastfeeding and the role everyone can play in normalizing breastfeeding. And whereas the theme for National Breastfeeding Week 2024 is Closing the Gap, Breastfeeding Support for All, which focuses on survival, health, and well-being. It highlights the need to improve breastfeeding support to reduce inequities to exist in our society. All breastfeeding parents need access to breastfeeding support. It is essential that no one is left behind.
Therefore, I, Craig Scott, Mayor of the Town of Torbay, do proclaim October 1st to the 7th, 2024, National Breastfeeding Week in Newfoundland and Labrador. So moved.
Second.
Who did seconded? Comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. The next one is Cadet Week.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Cadet Week, and we do have some members of our local, now we can say our local Cadet Corps here in attendance. We have Captain Slaney, Sergeant Baron Rotman, Sergeant Sivier, and what the F stand for? F Sergeant. What's that? Oh, no, I know that, Witten, right? But there's F dash Flight Sergeant, there you go. Witten. So, who got this one?
I think I do.
I think you got it, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Proclamation. Whereas Canada and its youth have been well served by the Canadian Cadet Organization since 1879, and whereas the Canadian Cadet Organization in Newfoundland and Labrador have operated successfully in many communities since 1949, and whereas the Canadian Cadet Organization give youth the opportunities to develop citizenship, leadership, and a healthy lifestyle.
Therefore, be it resolved that the week of September 28th to October 5th, 2024 shall be declared Cadet Week in the town of Torbay. And therefore, all citizens are encouraged to celebrate this special week by conducting celebrations and activities throughout the community. Signed at Torbay Town Hall, Newfoundland, Labrador, on this first day of October in the year 2024. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Comments? Well, I'll just say, oh, go ahead, Tony.
I was gonna say, I mean, I know we've, in my memory as counselor, I think we had been trying to get cadets back again for a number of years, and it's great to see that the organization is finally back in Torbay again, because it certainly brings a worthwhile effort to all the young folks today and broadens their horizons, and we certainly look forward to the continued growth of the Cadet Corps here in Torbay.
Go ahead, Councillor Tapper.
Just want to speak for a second. I'm a volunteer member of the Royal Canadian Legion, and from out in Pleasantville, that chapter. And it's great to see the young people, you know, at their events. We'll see you now on November the 11th weekend, I'm sure, in full force. But again, the point is, as Tony mentioned, it's great to see the young people, not only in this organization, but there's so much on the go. You know, they got to become involved and get educated, and it's great to see you here tonight as well. Thank you.
Thanks. Your comment? I'll just, before I hand the floor over to you guys, I will say that I think Cadets is a great organization. When I was young, a few years ago, I was in Fort Pepperell Sea Cadets, and then I was in Gonzaga Army Cadets after that. And my son was in Air Cadets down at the Pleasantville, where he used to be. And through all that time, I think that we've always had to travel from Torbay to go to St. John's to be able to take part in whatever we were doing. It was cadets, and in them days we used to get a bus. But I'm so happy that we're finally able to accommodate you here within the town. And the benefits are, I mean, I've seen the benefits of cadets and teaching young people different skills. So I'm very happy to have you here. And I'll just invite you up if you want to say a few words, or if you don't want to say a few words, we could just jump up and get another picture.
I can say a few.
Sure.
Unless you guys can talk. No? Well, hello everybody. My name is Captain Carly Slaney. I'm the commanding officer of 508 Caribou, Royal Canadian Air Cadet Squadron. So we've recently moved to Holy Trinity High School. And we're actually the oldest Air Cadet unit in Newfoundland. So there's a lot of heritage and community that already comes with being with this unit. And we're happy to be in the community. If you guys ever need anything, give us a call. We're here to help. Hopefully we'll have more youth, but we have lots of youth that can do whatever you guys need. Perfect.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So jump up there now, and you can get your group up.
Hey, that's perfect. You're on your side there. Thank you.
Thank you.
If I have to stay for a whole meeting, you know what? Sure, you got busy lives.
I already told him that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys so much.
Good night.
Okay.
One left.
Yeah, and then that presentation.
And we have a proclamation here for National Seniors Day. Councillor Powell.
Thank you, Your Worship. National Seniors Day, October 1st, 2024. Whereas communities across Canada joined together on October 1st, 2024 to recognize National Seniors Day and the United Nations International Day of the Older Persons. And whereas National Seniors Day focuses on celebrating and honoring the significant role seniors play in contributing to community development and creating healthy communities for our town and our country. And whereas seniors in Torbay contribute in many ways to our community, and are involved in all aspects of our lives as parents, grandparents, guardians, teachers, volunteers, mentors, and neighbors. And whereas the town of Torbay is committed to enhancing services for seniors and creating an age-friendly town.
Therefore, I, Craig Scott, Mayor of the Town of Torbay, do hereby proclaim that October 1st, 2024 be recognized as National Seniors Day in the Town of Torbay, and urge my fellow citizens to recognize the crucial role played by older adults in our community and our province. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Comments?
I just want to say thanks to Jen and Sandy and staff for their help aid with us today at the North Pond Manor for the seniors. We went over there, myself and Ron were there, as well as Jen, Sandy, and two younger folks from the rec center, or the common, and we gave them a rose and some chocolate each, and we spent some time with them, which is actually great. So, and I passed on my apologies to yourself, and MHA Wall couldn't make it. But, this relay is exactly, I guess, what I said at the time too, in terms of we don't realize, gives us time to sit back and think about seniors, and we're all gonna be there someday. Someone was there already. And what, I guess, events in life have transpired and where you end up at the end of the day and look back and contribution to community and family life and just society in general. So it's great to recognize it.
Thanks. Other comment? Mayor?
I'd just like to, I guess, thank all of our seniors in the community. We wouldn't be where we're to today without their support, volunteering, and their engagement along the way. I guess is appropriate because everybody is, well, they've heard me talk over the past number of years about the what do you call age-friendly communities, and is in there in the proclamation. But the fact that tonight that we got Recreate Consulting Services and we got the first phase of the plan for age-friendly communities, and I think that it's really worthwhile, it's really good that that we have it tonight especially. So again, thank you to all of our seniors.
Thank you. Other comment?
I just want to mention, over this last few years, especially since the Common got open, and all the events throughout the town over there as well. But it's great to see so many seniors and new seniors coming out for the first time to these events, enjoying a bit of music and fun and everything else. And, I think being a senior myself, it's great to be around them. Tony mentioned North Pond Manor. We've been up there playing music and that, and just to see a smile on their face is great. So more power to us, and I think our community is really picking up and doing more for seniors than we ever did.
Thank you.
I'll just say, well, certainly what everyone said, just second everything that was said here. And the enjoyment with being up to the seniors' home today, and as you said, acknowledging what they've put forward for us as a community and for us as individuals. So thank you to each and every one.
Yeah, agreed. And I'll just, I'll close it out. My great friend, the late Kevin Parsons, used to advise me and was a mentor for me being mayor. And he said, whatever you do, always remember your seniors. Do stuff, and he believed in that. And for me personally, the most enjoyment I get out of events that I attend on behalf of the town are with young people and seniors, two ends of the spectrum. But no offense to anybody in the middle, but it's a great opportunity that we have to be able to provide services and activities for the seniors in our community. And I think that our town is on the right track when it comes to that. And, it's onward and upward from here. But I want to thank them for everything that they do. And, this town didn't just arrive out of the blue 5 years ago. There's a lot of people over the years, seniors in particular, that put a lot of work into getting us to where we are now, and we're stewards of that, and we had to remember that as we go forward. All right, we don't have anybody here to speak to that, but I think everybody else had a comment on it, and with that, all in favor? Aye, opposed, carried. Thank you very much. Excuse me. Next on the agenda, we have a presentation for Kids Eat Smart. And I'm just going to turn the floor over to Mark to talk a bit about what it is that we're going to do, and then we're going to jump up and present our great big old check that we got there.
Thanks, Mayor Scott.
Is your microphone on, buddy?
Yes.
Shove it down on it. The light's not on. There you go.
Perfect. Thanks, Mayor Scott. So we were approached earlier this summer by the Kids Eat Smart Foundation to see if we would participate in some fundraising activities to support that very wealthy cause. So earlier this summer, we had a staff barbecue one afternoon at the Common where we raised some monies, and then we also continued those fundraising efforts with our golf day that we held on September 13th. And we had a putting green where folks could putt for $5 to win a prize. And so tonight we have Selena Stoyles here from the Kids Eat Smart Foundation to receive our check, and in the amount of $500. So I'd like to thank everybody who participated and who contributed, and has allowed us to be here tonight to support this very worthwhile organization, and they do great work, and as well in Torbay, if I'm not mistaken. And I believe Selena, after we present the check, will just have a few words on behalf of the foundation that, if you want to, Selena, and
She could do it
or
now.
you can do it now. Go right ahead.
Thank you so much. As he shared, my name is Selena, and I'm the Executive Director with Kids Eat Smart Foundation. So what we do, our team in the foundation, is we set up and financially support all of the breakfast clubs in Newfoundland and Labrador. And what that means is that we ensure that every child and youth who comes to school hungry, for whatever reason, has access to food and breakfast at no cost to the child or their family. So when you think about that, and we think about the children in Newfoundland and Labrador, and even in our own town of Torbay, the stats are out, and it's showing us that 1 in 4 children in Newfoundland and Labrador under the age of 18 lives in a food insecure home, or home without food. So when you think about that, children have to come to school. They don't have a choice. So we will ensure that every child and every youth, they have access to food. But we could not do it without community support, and it's because of groups like yours, like the town of Torbay, who takes on a fundraising effort to donate money to our foundation to ensure just that. So what I'd like to say is, on behalf of all the children and youth who are going to have food, because of you, we want to say thank you. And we always say $1 is a breakfast for a child, so that's 500 breakfasts. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you for choosing us as the charity of choice, and we look forward to continuing to work with you. Thank you.
There we go. Great, and just get a little closer so it's only a small bunch of you. Perfect. Very photogenic crowd there. You too.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much for coming.
Good night.
All right, you too.
All right, moving right along. Q&A, Mayor's report. Just going to do the birthdays for the month of October. And I got them right here. Ralph Tapper, Counselor, October 25th. So it seems we don't have...
That's the only one?
No, and my wife Lorraine, my wonderful saint of a wife, her birthday is October 30th, so I might as well add that in there too. And wish them both happy birthday. All right. What else do I have to report? Nothing really. Those. I'll just continue on. Business Rising report. Tony, got anything on there?
I got my one question is not gonna be a question, it's gonna be, because we all seen emails
Yeah.
today, and maybe I shouldn't say anything, but I will. I relay the concerns that the message is just not getting through, or somebody doesn't care. And I think it's high time that, everyone's eyes are open to the fact that, we need that second source of water, and it is because of contamination caused by something that was not in control of the town. And we've been at this, I'll go back prior to Christmas of last year, and I definitely know that because we had meetings at that point in time, and it may go back even farther, and I would suggest it has, that we were supposed to get in front of the right people to be able to find a way forward in terms of some type of funding for us to be able to start our trek down Great Pond. And at that point in time, when we first started this, I think 2026 was a anticipated date that if everything fell in place, that we could have Great Pond up and running. We're now probably 2 years later than what we had originally planned, so it's gonna push out that much further. And all this talk about all this housing development and the need and everything else, if the people open their eyes, and particularly the federal government, and I'll say it, and open their eyes and looked at the actual facts and saw the number of houses we have sitting, or the number of development that we have sitting here ready to go, we're probably top of the list in terms of that capacity to run with it as soon as someone says yes. And if someone analyzed the dollars, we're probably not that far off if on the per unit times the number of dollars they're paying out now for houses under the Housing Accelerator Fund or something along those lines. I honestly think that it needs to be brought somewhere harder, and I thank Mayor today that he followed up with an email that our CIO had actually sent to the federal government, and hopefully our member Joanne Thompson will certainly take that on board now and push it way harder than ever, and we need to. I don't know what the next step is, but certainly we're going to start rattling some cages somewhere by making phone calls up along ourselves, for that matter.
And listen, to your point, when I saw that email come in today and I read it, and they had bold one part in there talking about adding new homes or whatever. I specifically took that out and pasted it in my reply to them, because that's exactly what we're doing. And I was just so frustrated, and I texted the CEO after and apologized for not jumping the gun, but jumping ahead of him to respond to that email that was addressed to him, because I was so frustrated. It seems that no matter how clear we are and explaining our situation and what it is that we want to do, it's like they don't even read it, which is so frustrating. So I did contact MP Thompson today and told her that we need her now to advocate on behalf of this hard, because our mandate is in its last year, and potentially hers could be too. It doesn't matter. We don't want to hand this off to somebody else, and she doesn't need to hand it to someone else. So we're going to be constantly now, Sandy, at this point, we got to get in front of somebody to put forward our arguments. Somebody that can make decisions is what I asked her today. So I'm sick of getting run around, fed up with it.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
Did that email go out to everybody?
No, it didn't.
Okay, because I was going to say, there's been a couple of emails now that's been referenced here in the chamber.
Yep.
And I haven't seen anything on it.
We'll share them with council.
Well, I think all of us should be copied on it and know what's...
We'll forward them on the rest of council. It was contained to our water committee and the CAO, so.
Well, I was originally on that committee and I missed the first meeting and I kind of got kicked out after that, but anyway.
No, that's fair.
No, but I haven't seen it and I've heard you talking about this before here and,
Yeah.
you know, I think that,
Yeah, no, I was just saying, I don't mind including everyone. I mean, that's, I
Right.
was just confining it to the group. But I mean, I don't mind sharing it with everyone. It's not a problem at all.
I think that the purpose of the communication with the federal government for keeping it to a limited number of people was the confusion that we had prior when we were trying to set up a meeting and they canceled it because all of council couldn't be there, and just didn't want to make that confusion anymore. But any information that we get, certainly we'll distribute out to council to see. Okay. Correspondence. We have a correspondence here from the East Coast Trail Association, giving an update from 2023 and their activities that they have planned for 2024, 2025. I spoke to CAO a little briefly earlier about this, and this leads into, I guess, our discussion that we've had about how we determine what we're going to do our grants and donation policy. Because if I look at this, the work that was done in 2023, the cost to the town was 646 plus 914. My adding brings that up to about $1,500, $10 or something, as opposed to the 5,000 that we put in the budget. So maybe there's one thing there that we need to take a look at when we go about that. The
I think historically, though, sorry, Your Worship,
Yeah.
is that we really need to see whether or not, you know, there's an expected return of the $5,000 indirect dollars spent on the portions of trail, because it is an economic driver, and if we happen to have a bad portion, let's say in some other community, it's really not gonna help the East Coast Trail and our portion if there's another lousy portion, so we say, right? So
Agreed.
and they may have spent more on our section earlier, so I just caution that on terms of that exact dollar for dollar return. But I thought of it as well when I looked at it. First thing I said, well, I'm gonna spend $1,500 in Torbay. And then I sat back and said, but it's, you know, it's part of a much more attractive trail system that attracts people to the whole Northeast Avalon, and which we get the beneficiary of having people come across our town as well, so.
Yeah, fair enough. I just wanted to highlight that, that's all.
I think it's a really good point to highlight, because we continue to give a donation as well as support the walk that they have each year, and I think that it's only right that portion of that money go back to the to town, which provides it.
Nomination now for M&L Board of Directors. It appears that the first part of that is kind of dated, but down at the bottom, the director positions that are open this year for nominations are the regional directors: Labrador, Northern, Western, Central, Eastern, and Avalon. So I guess the Avalon would be the one that would concern us here. That's just for your consideration.
But they're for 4 years, right?
2 years.
2 year, even for 2 years, like there was a discussion on that a couple of years ago, like there's an election next year, so potentially you get somebody in and it could be only for 1 year.
Right.
So,
So last year, my seat, the ones that are at the top of that one, UMC, president, vice president, those are done 1 year, and then the next year is the regional directors, so that they're alternating, so that you wouldn't have the whole board wiped out
Yeah.
potentially in an election. Long Service Awards Banquet, 20, 25, 30, and 35 years. Deputy Mayor, I'm sure you'll be getting recognized there for your 20 years of service. And
I had it last year.
Huh?
I had 20 last year.
Did you get the
Yeah,
recognition?
and we talked
Oh.
about, we got the plaque, so that's
Yeah.
what I mean, so I don't think we've got anybody.
Well, Councillor Tapper potentially. Long Service Award for 12 and 16 years. Anyway, they want to know who's going to be
Yeah.
going to the banquet, so let's let them know. RNC Meeting with Council, this is one that they send out to the councils to come and meet with the executive. They don't come here for this meeting, right? This is one
They
where
have been coming here in the past, but they've invited us over there this time. The deputy chief
Okay.
contacted me. So I just want to throw that out to see if everyone was okay with that. There was a date that they recommended,
Yeah, October 22nd or 23rd.
22nd or 23rd. Those were the 2 days.
Okay.
So if everybody's okay with that, I'll send out some follow-up email,
Sure.
and whoever can attend.
Yep.
The deputy chief did say that they've come down here now for the past number of years, and he would like for us to come up there this time
Yeah,
for
fair
council.
enough.
So I just want to let everybody know that.
How are we with setting up our public meeting?
Well, that's actually what led to this, kind of, because I've reached out now on a couple of occasions to the RNC, once back in July and once last month, about setting up that meeting. They've been talking internally. They haven't responded to me other than this, but I spoke directly with the deputy chief, and that's one of the things they want to discuss in the meeting.
Okay. Perfect. So we'll send that out to council, see who's able to go,
Yep.
and then we'll go there and see what we can do. All right. Committees of council. Let's blow through this now. Committee to hold minutes, 23 September 2024. Any motions in here? Nope. All right, can I get a motion to adopt those, please?
So moved.
Second.
Everybody moved it, everybody seconded it. Any errors or omissions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried, thank you. Planning, land use, development, Councilor Pollard.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Excuse me, before you move on,
Yeah.
the minutes that we adopted at the beginning,
Mhm.
there was a motion of council in
Where?
those.
Which one?
The special meeting.
The special meeting for September 26th.
Yep,
That meeting was actually for a motion of council for planning for public works and infrastructure.
okay,
So I just wanted to acknowledge that that motion was there.
okay.
Okay.
That was a special public council meeting.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
For the
but that,
purpose of-
that
For
motion
the
was passed
purpose of
already.
that motion.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right, back to you, Councilor Pollard.
Do we want to?
No, we
Oh,
already,
we had public, never mind, sorry, yeah, you're right.
okay.
Thanks for reading my mind. It's a job sometimes. Go easy on me late now, folks. So, we met on the 25th of September, myself and Councillor Tapper and Julie and Jason and Allison. First motion relates to 1593 Torbay Road and its application for a variance, which is pretty standard. So, a motion to conditionally approve the proposed 5% variance request to the minimum required lot area standard for the property at 1593 Torbay Road to construct a single-family dwelling, semi-serviced, in accordance with the regulation 1112 and 33 of the Torbay Development Regulations 2015 to 2025 and conditions outlined in the attached background report. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
The next one relates to the quarry. I'm not necessarily going to read all the information that's there in terms of the update and what is going on, but I did have some contact with other councillors and residents as well in terms of the question as to why we would bring forward the motion. I'm going to bring forward the motion first and we can discuss it then easier. Let's make it probably easier. The motion to support the quarry operator of the Balleen Line, Middle Three Island Pond Road quarry undertaking preparatory work to be able to facilitate a number of small blasts required for mandatory on-site remediation purposes at the quarry site. The operator shall obtain a blasting permit from the town. Said blasting permit shall only be issued once the town, provincial, and federal authorities have received and reviewed the water test results and recommendations being prepared by a certified environmental consultant and have agreed to the best method for the safe release or removal of the water from the man-made pool on site. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
Okay, so everyone knows I guess the history right now of the quarry and the automobile residue that's up there. And there was also an order from Occupational Health and Safety on the quarry itself in terms of, there's a very high bank, I'll say, in my mind, to the north side, might be east or west, but anyway, there's a high bank that is outside of regulation size height and it needs to be stepped down. And that is the purpose of the blast. So if anybody happens to come over the hill from the other side, there's a long drop down, or if any animals happen to come over, then they could certainly fall, to their death, let's put it that way, that type thing. And we gave some long thought to this and asked the same question that was asked, why would we want to go ahead and approve anything until the quarry is totally remediated and cleaned up? There's been a lot of work done at the quarry and it is still slow going, but they are still working on it and screening all the material. The material has been moved some, let's say 10 or 15 meters, maybe more, 20 meters probably away from the actual water that's there. So the residue that they are screening and taking off is not getting back into the pond. We had discussed having the pond tested before there was any water released from it, but that fell outside the purview of both, I guess, federal and provincial in that they wouldn't do anything until something actually spilled over. So as a condition of the blasting, we actually insist that they actually test the water, and we will pass it on to the authorities for clearance in terms that there is none of the residue that will overflow potentially. The hole where the water is needs to be filled in, so I'm assuming that they'll also use the step-down blast rock to fill that hole, and that will take care of that water issue as well. So, you know, while thinking about it on the face value of allowing something positive to go ahead, I think that it's in our best interest to make sure that the safety concerns are addressed, that water is tested, because it wouldn't have to be, if even we had significant rainfall and overflow, it wouldn't have been tested at that point in time, so we still had danger. So at least now we get it tested, and there will be an ordered release of that water, and the pond will be filled in, so that'll no longer be a hindrance. So there's no actual increase in any operation of the quarry per se. It's actually to agree to a occupational health and safety order, and in our opinion anyway, and Councillor Tapper can certainly speak to it as well if he wishes, but in our opinion it's best that we go ahead and get the big bank step down now to a couple of smaller banks and proceed.
Okay, any other comment?
I agree with the recommendation. You know, again, this quarry issue has been ongoing for centuries in my book, way too long. But we're getting there. It's a slow process. They're actually trucking some of this material out to central Newfoundland because they can't dispose of it here. So obviously that's a big cost to the company, and it's slow going. But you know, the committee talked about the life of the quarries. There are three actually, you know, owners of these quarries. So we're nearing the end, I think, and hopefully it'll be the end, you know, for quarries, and especially in that part of town, right? Because we're talking about it at our new town plan, the meetings we're having there. So, and a lot of people are against quarries totally. So we'll see what the public says and what their wish is when we finally present that report. So, but for the time being, I think it's in our best interest to clean up as much as possible and remediate the mess that's in there, because there is a cliff left there that should be taken care of as well.
Okay, any other comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
The next motion is to table the Town of Torbay greenhouse gas inventory report for the years 2018 to 2023 for public record purposes. So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded, comments?
So that was a report that was done in-house in terms of the one of our initiatives to get to net zero carbon emissions by some point in the future. I think we're probably 2030 or something along those lines. And this here is maybe our baseline report in terms of where our greenhouse gas inventory is and how it's progressed over the past number of years. And by putting this out forward, everybody will know what's there, and we can certainly gauge ourselves moving forward to see if we're improving or not on our greenhouse gas emissions. We're working toward our goal.
Okay, thank you. Any other comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Next motion deals with one of our favorite subjects, our water allocations, of which we have none. So the background report is there, and I think at our last committee of the whole meeting, we all agreed that because still the uncertainty in terms of the number of, I guess, living units that are actually on the water supply system now at the present time, and the very, very minuscule number of units that we say are available, almost to the point that is negligible, that we would put a freeze on it until we actually came up with some new data or a secondary source of water supply, so that we wouldn't have to be necessarily in the arguments and the discussion over one or two units possibilities, and when it really doesn't necessarily make sense from the greater scheme of things, until we get a better handle on our full water supply. So the motion one is to really add a condition to the policy as it exists. So motion one is add condition 10 to the existing water allocation policy under the header issuance of water allocations, sequentially below number 9, so we'll read 10. Council may from time to time as necessary put a freeze in effect on the issuance of new water allocations. The water allocation freeze may be lifted by council as new information becomes available. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Comments?
So this is just really just putting our capability to do it. We probably could do it anyway, actually, looking at it, but at least it's in the policy now with the recognition that as information changes, we can open and close the availability of water allocations based on a policy alone type thing. Motion 2 is going to address.
Hang on now. Can we just do motion
Sorry.
1 first?
Sorry.
Any other comment on that? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Continue, sir.
Yeah. So, I'll read the next motion. In accordance with the town's water allocation policy, council is putting a temporary freeze in effect on the issuance of any new water allocations. This freeze is in effect as of Tuesday, October 1st, 2024, and shall be in effect until further notice. The freeze does not apply to properties that, at the time of the coming into effect of this resolution, have an allocation in place as outlined in the water allocation policy. When an act of approval in principle, footing, or building permit expires subsequent to October 1st, 2024, with no possibility of extension, said expiry shall constitute the forfeiture of the associated water allocation for this subject property. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
So this essentially freezes everything as is at the present time with any approvals in principle still running until they expire. And once they expire, then the forfeiture takes place essentially.
Okay. Other comment? Go ahead, Councilor Tapper.
I believe these two motions are real indicators as to where we are as a town. You know, it's come to this, right? And we're you know, squinting over a few allocations, who gets what, and, you know, what we gotta go through to scrape up some more. And it is absolutely ridiculous. We badly need a second source, which we're crying to the feds for. But again, nobody seems to be listening, and that's unfortunate. But, you know, I think, again, we gotta be careful, and these motions are there for a purpose, just to give us some direction, again, in the next several months anyway, as to what might come about.
Other comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And Your Worship, there's another motion that I asked Director Schwartz to add after some conversation we had this afternoon, and I'm sorry, Councilor Tapper, I didn't really include you in those conversations. It happened to be one of my stop-ins and thought process, because I didn't think the first two motions really captured some of the issues we addressed today, and it's really difficult to put a freeze on and that freeze continue for a period of time and then try to go back and rehash history and what has taken place. And we know from conversations with some proponents and some applicants that we ran into problems with history, shall we say. And so I had asked Director Schwartz to actually write up a motion that will essentially recognize that anybody who's essentially known to us now at the present time who wants the allocation will stay known to us. And when time comes for allocations to free up, then we'll go out to them and say, listen, have to make new application now at this point in time. And they may have to make new applications at that point in time, because we don't know what the time frame is going to be. We don't know if regulations are going to change between now and whenever. And just in another conversation, as an aside, we may have to refund some application fees somewhere along the way too for some of the people who are presently paid for something that's ongoing and now going to be deferred again for a longer period of time. But that would be a discussion for another day. So anyway, the Planning and Development Department is maintaining a record of all applications for water allocations received since September 2020 that since have been refused, changed to semi-service lot, private well, or that have expired, so the town may contact property owners in the future to determine interest in resubmitting an application for an allocation when additional allocations become available. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Comments?
I guess I already sort of
Yeah,
explained
shouldn't
it
have allowed
afterwards.
you
I
to do
should
that.
have I don't
I wasn't watching.
Well,
Go
sorry.
ahead, Deputy Mayor, did you have something?
No, I guess after reading the other one, because I called Councillor Pollard this afternoon on it, because motion 2 seemed to be confusing to me. And while Councillor Pollard just went through his explanation of having this, all of that is not in the motion. So in a year or two, are we going to be sitting here and saying, well, we voted on a motion, And this pertains to what we decided as of the 1st of October 2024, because in here is saying that have been refused, changed to semi-serviced, or have expired. So the town may contact property owners in the future to determine interest in resubmitting an application. So are we looking at all of the applications that are currently in our inventory now? Because that's not what we talked about the other night. And remember, we had lengthy discussion on that, or if we should open up anything that becomes available, or are we just going to be looking at existing applications? Or am I totally
No,
confused?
it's confusing, but I don't understand necessarily your question.
How,
Not that the question is not valid, but I
I
cut it
know.
off.
but how are we going to go about the applications that we currently have in the system? Some of them are not expiring until December, so they'll stay
Yes.
until whatever time that they'll expire, because that was my big concern. But then on a go-forward basis, what's in here? Like, we're maintaining a record of all applications since September 2020. Like, now we're keeping an inventory? I just want to make sure that, because we're kind of being back and forth on that, saying we're not going to keep an inventory, and we could tell one person, no, there's no water, and they're not going to put in an application, and then somebody else puts in an application. You can see where I'm coming from with that? And then, okay, no,
I just want to clarify,
Yeah.
I think what's clear is right now, we're not maintaining a wait list. But what we are doing, just because we've been doing it since 2020, so we have a record of everybody that had applied under that September 2020 motion. So we have a record who applied and whose file either expired or kind of they changed their application, so forth. So we have that record. But we're not maintaining a wait list as such. But we have those records of those people that had been in the system. So that could be reverted back to if council at that time in the future may choose to do so. But I mean, the language from the department's perspective would be clear now based on the freeze that's in effect. So the freeze is saying there are no more approvals in principle issued with a water allocation. And basically what the third motion is doing is just indicating that we do have a record up to now, but really we can't. The risky part is we can't accept new people to be placed on a wait list, really. That's what we're doing. Like, when we're not running a wait list that people couldn't put their name down, but we keep the record of who had applied and whose file might have expired, etc.
that's why I'm going back to when we had the meeting and discussed this the other night. So we could say that, and we got ourselves in that, not in a predicament, but we were saying that there's no water, not to put in an application. So we can have a meeting next week and say, you know what, we've got 29 now, we think, new allocations. So then, what happens from that day forward? Are we automatically then going to new applications? Because somebody could be in talking to you this week and say, no, don't put one in. Like, I don't want to put a motion forward and say, well, you know, we didn't know this was going to happen, that there's going to be some available, or maybe, I don't know, like, this can go either way, and different counselors, different people can read something different into this, and what ramifications do it have on, you know, any Joe Blow that's out there going to put an application in, any new people.
Well, the intent, I think, and Julie, you can cut me off if I don't state this properly or not, but the intent is essentially to freeze, so what's in the system today is in the system.
Yes.
And while we're not holding the applications per se, we will let those folks know when we get sufficient water allocations to open up allocations again, shall we say.
The
But
ones that
they
are
will
in
be
the
on the
system.
same, they will be on the same level then as any person who wants to put an application in now. But we won't be taking any applications now with water allocations associated with them.
Okay.
Right? So the fear, I guess, was that if we don't hold the knowledge of the existing people, they may get lost in the shuffle next time around.
Yes.
So we may just say, yeah, so if 2 years down the road or 3 years down the road, we're long gone, or parts of us are long gone, and we go out to the public again, and then we get 4 or 5 people real quick off the uptake to get the applications in again. And they get ahead of people who are sitting in abeyance at the present time. That's what we really want to avoid. We want to make sure that, you know, those who had valid concern now and valid information and can move ahead solely because, or not solely because, but because of the water allocation scenario. We want to essentially kind of save them harmless and give them the notice, and then the public notice go out as well for.
Yeah, I mean, we're not in a position to be able to make concrete individual, promises or any type of confirmation. We can't confirm those types of things. What we're trying to do here is to be as fair as we can. Right. So the intent of this motion is to make a more general statement to say, look, we know you're out there. We recognize that. We'll do whatever we can on a go-forward basis. But we can't make commitments here. You know, we can't make individual commitments. We're not in a position to do that. All we're able to do is say, you know, we understand what people are trying to do, and we'll make every effort to be as fair as we can. That's really what this is about.
Right.
And that's why it's general in that respect.
Okay, thank you. Any other comment? The only thing I would say is I'm glad that we're keeping track of these, because that, regardless of having allocations or not, these numbers will bolster any application that we make to any kind of funding arrangement with the federal government that requires that we're adding inventory to the housing inventory. If we know that we got 200 houses potentially in the hopper, having a record of those helps us when we do those applications, so. All right, call a question. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Next one relates to the radon gas report, the 100th radon test kit challenge. Motion to officially table the Torbay's radon gas test kit challenge community report in the public chamber and on the town's website, and to encourage Torbay residents to learn more about radon gas, its associated health impacts, how to test for it, and options for remediation if required. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Last motion is to accept Torbay 2024 permit listings for weeks ending September 26, 2024 as tabled. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried.
And yours, well, I'd just like to say thanks to the planning staff for their patience on these ones, because we had some lengthy discussions and commentary back and forth, so I certainly appreciate their efforts in working with us and in the, I guess, the best of a worst, a bad situation, whatever it is.
All right, thank you.
Water allocations.
Yep, thank you. And thank you to committee and staff for all the work that you put into that. I'm sure it's time consuming. All righty. Admin and HR, Deputy Mayor. This was next, right?
I was waiting for a more report from the planning. All them other topics that you got in there. So this is where we're back to again, so
Admin and HR.
if there's no
Deputy Mayor.
motions,
Okay,
so am I,
you can
like,
do what you
to me,
want.
I know, but that's where we get into this, so there's no motions in here, so I'm assuming everybody is after reading it. And if we're going to be consistent, then if there's no motions, no need to read out the report. The only thing that I would, that was in here that I found of benefit if I was going to read anything out, and I'll just say that the recreation coordinators employed at the Common, the following is a list of the successful internal applicants, all of whom have been employed with the town. So this is for the winter months. At the Torbay Common is Emily Sampson, Julia Peddle, Joshua Parsons, Alyssa Griffiths, Olivia Davis, Sam Goss, Sarah Whitty, Ryan Tapper, and Ava Goss. So congratulations to those. And heavy equipment operator, that's the schedule to commence on the 6th, so there's no names in here. And that's, posting is out. And anything else? Anybody else got a
Deputy Mayor,
comment?
there is a name under the museum educator
Okay.
competition, if you want to read that out.
Okay. B. Oh, now I've gone too far. Okay, the museum educator, History House. The applicant in the successful candidate awarded position is to Hannah Cooper. Hannah was employed with the town as museum assistant at the History House during the summer months and was keenly interested in continuing her employment with the town. So congratulations to Hannah. And that's it.
All right, thank you. Any other questions on any of those items?
The emergency response plan, tabletop exercise. Can everybody note that it'll be on Thursday, October 24th?
All right,
And we're really asking for as many of senior management and council to be there as possible.
set your own day?
This afternoon.
Can send out a meeting
This
invite.
afternoon.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, it'll be during the day.
It's 2 hours.
All right. Okay, meeting invite will come out for that. Thank you very much. Corporate Services, Councillor Pollard.
Thank you, Your Worship. 1 second, starting to, waiting for it to load up. And just on that note about the reading the motions and the rest of the report, I think we had the conversation before too. I echo Deputy Mayor's, concerns about skipping over reports that don't have motions in them. I don't know what the answer is. I'm not saying this. Sometimes we could be here forever just reading updates when people are quite capable of reading the information themselves, but it sort of seems to not intentionally make some groups more important than others, get a chance to talk, and others not. So it's not really fair in that respect. I don't know how to address it, but I guess it's just one of those feel things that the reports should highlight. I guess what actually transpired, regardless if there's motions or not,
Yeah, I mean,
in a very high level.
to that point, I mean, if the presenter of the report, chair of the committee, has items in there that they would like to highlight, then highlight them. Otherwise, everybody else reads the package. If you have questions on any item, ask your question. So there's no reason for anything to get missed that's of significance, right? I understand where Deputy Mayor and.
Well, I don't agree with you. So I think that planning, it always has been, and I was here when I had that file, and going down, there's a lot, and if residents are listening for anything, it's planning and development and there's things that are ongoing that motions are not, and because it's a long report, there's a lot of work that goes into that report by the staff. And I just find that a lot of it is just skimmed over, and it's only for motions. And that's not, and I think another really important one is the Public Works and Infrastructure. And if there's not motions, and I think that there's a lot of information in there that the residents, not how quick we can get through a meeting, but what's in there of important. So I really think that emphasis should be put on there, and that there are sometimes maybe the corporate services or HR is taking a longer time to get through than what planning and development and others are. But I know that the staff put a lot of work and emphasis on them, and it should be given the time that's required, regardless of how the chair feels about them.
Well, first of all, I will correct you. It's not the chair, I only chair the meeting. This is council's meeting.
Yeah.
If you're delivering a report and you want to read every line of it, go ahead. There's nobody stopping you. All I said was that whoever's presenting the report, they choose what it is they want to put forward. The rest of the council reads the council package prior to the council meeting. If there's something in there that they want to ask questions about or feel should be highlighted, they can raise it during a meeting when the report comes forward. It's got nothing to do with me. There's no rules there. It says you can't read the entire report if you want to. So
I've been told in the past, so I just wanted to
you
put
know
that
what?
out there and leave it at
Enough.
that.
Enough.
Oh, enough is
There's-
enough.
There's no told, our rules are there, and there's nowhere in the rules that states that you cannot
Okay.
read your entire report.
Perfect.
Carry on, sir.
Sorry for bringing that up, I just,
Well, I mean, it's just foolishness is what I think.
well, anyway, we had two discussions on it, and both were one way or the other, so. The Corporate Service Committee, we didn't meet this week, actually, we did it because of last minute items that popped up, and we had a meeting previously early as well to do the invoices over $5,000, but there are a number of motions that are here. Motion one is for the invoice over $5,000. They are as follows: Newfoundland Power, September billing, $13,288.57. Brentag Canada Inc. chlorine for the treatment plant at $6,054.03. Receiver General payroll remittance September 1st to the 15th, $37,122.39. Newfoundland Exchequer HAPSET, which is school tax for August 2024, $11,307.22. Executive Taxi Limited summer camp transportation in the amount of $6,933.35. And TKS Solutions Inc. consulting work for occupational health and safety, $31,050, all for a total of $105,755.56. So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Comments?
I just want to refer to the TKS Solutions one, the consulting occupational health and safety. We've been, I'll say, less than perfect from a report perspective or work procedures type thing since we did it back in 2019. I say 17. I don't want to go back that far, but 2017 probably. And this should put us in a situation where we'll be able to get our prime rebate from workers' comp again, which will actually over a period of years save us that extra money. But it needs to be upkept and moving forward to make sure that we can meet prime and prime audit every year from workers' comp. And they'll do it they'll audit every 3 years, I think, something along those lines. Next
All right.
motion.
Oh, all in favor?
Sorry.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Yeah, on the track. Financing Town Hall and the Torbay Volunteer Fire Department Annex renovations. Town of Torbay award financing in the amount of $113,354.35 for the Town Hall and the Torbay Volunteer Fire Department Annex renovations to Newfoundland Labrador Credit Union for a 5-year term and 5-year amortization at the rate of 4.43% with monthly payment of $2,109.67. Rate quotes were requested from TD, RBC, and NLCU, with the lowest rate coming from NLCU. Committee recommends award financing in the amount of $113,354.35 for the Town Hall and Torbay Volunteer Fire Department Annex renovations to NLCU Bank for a 5-year term and 5-year amortization at the rate of 4.43% with a monthly payment of $2,109.67. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Comments?
I know I repeated that twice that time, but sorry, just
Sorry.
drives it home, you know.
It's a good rate in current climate. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
The next motion is from the fire department relating to the regional fire study, and it's for a budget reallocation. So the overall budget for the study was $55,000 to $60,000, with Louisville Middle Covado agreeing to pay $11,298, Bali agreeing to pay $1,800, and the Flat Rock's portion in course included with ours for a total of $46,902. The chief and staff have come up with areas from which they could transfer the funds from that. So the recommendation to transfer funds from some other accounts to help pay for this under this year's budget while staying within the overall budget limited. Transfer $18,000 from salaries and wages, $6,000 from professional development, $4,000 from St. John's Regional Fire Department standby service, and transfer $2,000 from 9/11/11 service. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Comments?
I did have I don't have a concern with it overall in terms of the need for the study. I sometimes wonder why we take it on ourselves to do, but I guess us being the bigger town, it probably has some added benefit to us in terms of knowing exactly what the fire service looks like, and we haven't done a really service review, I guess, in a number of years, and obviously this is more regional, so we'll see what comes out of it, and if we can do it with this year's budget, then let's do it and have it done.
Any other comment? It's unfortunate that Portrait Cove St. Phillips didn't come in on this, and I was surprised Pooch Cove pulled out, but I think it's important, and the Chief and I have talked about this. If you don't review the service that you're offering, how do you know you're offering a good service? And what it is that you can do to improve, and if you're getting good value for your money. So, you know, Lucky Bay, Middle Cove, Outer Cove is banging on our door wanting us to provide service over there. We don't know, we can say yes, we can say no, but we really can't give them an honest answer until we do this bit of work. And in the meantime, and I continue, I've sent emails again a little while ago to the new Minister of Fire, two ministers. I've sent it to Hagee and to Minister Hutton, and asked MHA to follow up for us to see if they have any slippage in their budget that they can help us cover the cost of this. So I'm gonna continue to do that, even though that we've just agreed that we're gonna go ahead with the study. To me, that this is something, a regional approach that the provincial government should be on board. And the fact that they're not, and we got denied our funding in the beginning, really doesn't seem well to me, so I'll continue to follow up on that.
Yeah. Just so everyone is aware as well, those transfers don't add up to the full amount either. We're still short, right?
Is there an amount left in the account, isn't there, for the study itself?
Well, I'm just reading here, our version is 46,900. The amount of transfer is 30,000, so we're still 17,000.
But we had some in our budget already allocated, right?
I'm not sure. I don't know if, Randy, you could speak to that?
I was hoping that, like, the study's gonna take about 4 months, so it's not gonna be done until next year, so I was hoping that whatever funds we aren't able to find in this year's budget, that we can
Carry it over to next year.
Yeah, for next year's budget,
Yeah.
that's when the final payment will do that
Yeah.
next.
And
Just so
Rodney,
you're aware that that's not the full amount, right? There will be more money that we'll need.
Rodney and I have agreed to scrub his accounts to see what we can find.
Okay.
If not, the remainder we hope would come from the 2025.
So are we paying then for other towns?
No, well, we're doing it on the
Pooch Cove.
entire area, right?
Yeah,
There's only 4 towns involved, right?
I know, so
Two
when I
towns that
see
pulled in.
portion included in there is 46,
Yeah.
because LMO initiated this in the beginning, and even with Pauline gone in there, and I don't think that we should be putting any money towards any of this to cover off from other towns. I mean, we've got a similar one that we're looking at doing that hasn't come forward yet for transit, and we've got like $30,000 that in the budget, and I think they're looking at extra, and nobody wants to put it in, and I don't think that, because to me, you're giving the message that we've got funding for it, unless the other towns, and it's the same thing, if they haven't got it now to put forward, they should be looking at it in their upcoming budget.
The only one that you could be talking about is Pooch Cove, right?
Well, Pooch Cove and Flat Rock's portion, it says in there is included, so did we put in for Flat Rock, or how's that?
Yeah, we
Like-
built Flat Rock back a year after, right, for the
Yeah.
fire service. We'd be part
We have
of
an
it.
MOU
I know,
with
but
that.
I'm just looking at, for the budget for going forward with this. Like we're saying about the savings that we're taking, or the fire department are taking from the pay for this, where they're saving in order to put it in, but other towns are gonna benefit from it.
Well, LMO are paying their portion.
I know.
Bonnie are paying theirs. Flat Rock is paying theirs.
That's what I mean, so Flat Rock, they will come forward with
Well, Flat
extra
Rock's
to
part,
put
yeah.
in it,
It's-
yeah,
it's
because
just-
they're in there, right?
It's just
That's-
Pooch Cove and Portrait Cove St.
Yeah.
Phillips.
And we're
Okay.
not studying Portrait Cove St. Phillips, are we?
No.
Okay.
No, Portrait Cove St. Phillips are on their own. Pooch Cove, I'm not sure how that's gonna work, Rodney, but,
We'll own the report, so they won't have a copy of it, so it'll be our report, and then if we look at regionalization of including Pooch Cove, then you basically recoup the cost of this study by, them coming on board and so.
Right. Okay, thank you. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Yours, myself, and Councillor Tapper are in conflict on the next one.
Okay.
So that's
Deputy
when
Mayor?
we left to the three of you.
Yeah, so
Deputy
we lose
Mayor?
quorum. Oh, no, conflict of interest, is it? Yeah, so you still have quorum, yeah, sorry.
Definitely. Why this is for the Rocky Isles, that's the one that you're saying you're in conflict.
Right.
So are you in conflict on it as well?
I'm not in conflict.
Okay, no, you just said deputy mayor, so,
Before the motion.
oh, sorry. I'm thinking, oh my
He's
God.
not a singer.
I know, that's what I was wondering.
We're not either.
What? Oh,
Singing
no.
and being a singer is two different things, right?
The committee, well, this is for the Rocky Isles Singers, formerly the Torbay Folk Arts, is a community choir sponsored by the Torbay Folk Arts, and they're having a fundraiser on October 20th, offering the Rocky Isles in the Ocean, featuring our choir along with special guests Jackie Sullivan, Hamilton Sound, and Bud Davidge. So the committee recommends a donation to support the community group with the purchase of an ad in the concert program. The cost of these ads is $125. So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded.
You
Second.
can't.
Comments?
No, I think this is really worthwhile. This is a group that's, after taking this over the last couple of years, that came together with so many members from all of the surrounding communities. And I think it's a donation that's is well worth it.
Agreed. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Back to you, sir.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Councillor Pollard.
So ends my report.
All right, thank you. Any questions on anything else in there? There's nothing else in there already.
No, it's not for-
All right. All right, economic development, tourism. Councillor Tapper.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There are no motions in my report, but I'll highlight some items that are listed. First one, Small Business Week, is going to be October 21st to the 25th. So that's, I guess, in the planning stages right now. We're reaching out to groups to attend. The 2024-25 Newfoundland and Labrador Settlement and Integration Program. There's a proposal to hire an immigration settlement coordinator for the town for a 12-month period. So this will be a new position for that period. But again, that's we're looking at some grant money to get that okayed. The Fall Community Market is scheduled for October 20th at the Torbay Common. There's going to be hopefully at least 40+ tables at that event. Pitcher NL, our director met with executive director of Pitcher NL, re-promoting the town of Torbay as an excellent site for film / TV shooting. So this is something that, I guess on the side we've been involved with. There's been film productions done here before. So this is only to at least add to getting us on the map through this Pitcher NL group. So we're looking forward to that. There is an update here from the History House, and again, I can't open this attachment.
It's, if you just scroll down, it's actually
Number
right in there.
7.
Oh,
Yeah.
now I just dumped myself completely. Sorry. Gotta go back and start over. Okay. So, Some of the highlights, again, unfortunately, the meeting for the advisory committee had to be postponed, but some of the things to highlight, programs and field trips. Registration for the Creative Minds program, we're up to 73 children, which is great. There's going to be field trips, so, you know, obviously now we're into the school year. So kindergartens, grade 1s and 2s field trips are in the planning stage as well. And we're going to have a group from North Pond Manor actually scheduled to visit the History House on September the 7th, so for music and storytelling. So we're really looking forward to that as a first-time thing. The Bradbury Disaster Memorial is something we've been working on now for some while, trying to get some grant money and that sort of thing. So we have some quotes as to what that monument may look like, and again, we're going to discuss that at our next advisory committee meeting. The Mannion project is still ongoing. There's an oral history project. It's going to be proposed to the advisory committee. We're hoping to meet actually next Wednesday for that committee monthly meeting. And there's been some discussion on the archives and record storage, what we can do with that, and again allocate some money in the 2025 budget. Not sure if there's anything else, Deputy Mayor, but does that cover everything?
No, we talked about the Mannion,
Yeah.
and if we get that revised about the space that we're going to need, because we gave a commitment that it would be 6 staff that would have gone along with that, and a manager or director.
Well, those plans have actually changed. So, you know.
But for down the road, if,
Yes, well, again, depends on funding.
yes.
Yeah. So I believe that,
They've got a program coming out for Christmas and that as well in the next little while, so I
Yep.
think they're really busy time for them up there.
Yep.
All good.
so that's my report.
All right, thank you. Any
Again,
questions?
Your Worship, yeah, just on the immigration, Newfoundland Labrador Settlement and Integration Program. If we're successful in hiring an immigration settlement coordinator, I think that might be something we can add on to the housing and the water thing as well. Show our interest in making sure we get people to settle in the town of Torbay, and shows that we're working diligently to try to fulfill all those requirements and housing needs and things of that nature. So
That's a good
we
point.
just add that on as a tie-in, right?
Yep, absolutely. Alrighty. Infrastructure and Public Works, neither one of the committee members are here. Deputy Mayor, do you want to take that?
She's so kind of you. I gotta go back up to the top here now. Okay, so they had their meeting on the 25th. Councillor Appleby and Councillor Goss and Brian. I don't think that there's any motions in there.
There are.
Is there? Okay. That, I'm just going to look at the trail development, which I think is really important. Trail to Colonel Amherst Monument is mostly completed and some seeding required. Trails at Upper Three Corner Pond Park area, the wooded area, trail around the junior field. I mentioned earlier before we started. I was up there the weekend and it looks beautiful. It's really, I like, now the only thing with it where you got the topsoil, it would be nice to have it all done through like that, but it's really nice up there. The Forest River Road to Bypass Road, that work is ongoing there, and I see that, is that where they're working there now with the containers by Tara Ryan's house, Power? Yeah.
Yeah, so we're
Yes.
working on the trail coming up the hill there, and the ATV trail adjacent to it, so we can keep the ATVs off our walking trail. give
Oh,
them
that's a
their own
really,
trail.
yeah,
Yeah.
good for that point to be made then too. Bypass to Bridge Road area, license to occupy has been submitted, and the trail in Eagle's Nest, that's the one that we get asked questions about, is that they're working with the planning development on the need for the trail, the deed for the trail from the developer, and Flora Drive down to Windermere Line. Drainage route was also discussed, and this will give residents the area access to the Forest Landing Trail network. Awesome.
Can I just ask one question on the Flora Drive one, or the Eagle's Nest? I know that's been on the radar now for a period of time. I know it got tangled up in the changeover in the bankruptcy of one of the developers there and the land. Brian, and the Flora Drive down to Indian Line, is there a timeline for that? Are we waiting on deeds for that, or can we move that ahead? We spoke a couple of years ago.
Yes.
So
we already got an easement down through there.
Okay.
So that's one of the areas we're going to be heading to once we finish up the other areas. We're focused this year on the upper tree corner and the trail from the I'll get it out in a second, gazebo down to the bypass. So once we finish that, we're going to go back up towards that area, and hopefully the planning department have the other legal issue straightened out as well, so we can go up there and finish it all off.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Safety lights for the fire department. The project has been awarded to Black and McDonald. Materials have been ordered, and delivery date is mid-fall. So that's another good news story. A grant application has been submitted to add accessible pedestrian signals to all locations. Salt and sand storage shed, that's ongoing, completion date early October, early November. It's important to note, I think, that the sidewalk construction phase 2, that they started working on the deficiencies yesterday or today. I saw the signs there, so it's good. Culvert replacements for Woodfines Lane and Moores Valley, that road that closed today. I have one of the questions notes that I had here made myself, so just looking at the timelines for that, if need be, is it possible to have a meeting, if you need to have that in the next 2 weeks, to have that awarded, if need be? In essence of time, I'm just thinking
if need
about,
be,
right?
we're still waiting on permits for that as well.
Okay.
So once all that's in place, we'll have a
Okay, where it
motion
said
in
it was
place.
closing, the tender was closing.
Yeah, it closed today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's something just to look at, keeping Mr. Woodfine and the other residents happy.
I'll let you know if that's required.
Yeah. Pump house analysis project. Stantec has been awarded the contract for the project. All field work is completed and a draft report is expected soon. Do we know when that soon might be?
I was off today, but I received an email from Stantec, and they've got, I think it's about 95% of it all together. So he's just waiting on some cost estimates on the buildings. So I'm hoping before our next meeting, we should have something there.
Okay. The town office and Torbay Volunteer Fire Department Annex renovations project has been awarded and waiting on a schedule of construction.
Similar there, I've received an email from the contractor today, and he's hoping to be on site to do the shingling on the annex later this week.
Yeah.
And then there's siding is 2 weeks out.
Because we awarded that last.
That was awarded last week,
meeting,
yeah. Let's move along.
The fuel system upgrade project is due to be completed early October. Wetlands sewer study committee reviewed email, and it was agreed that the Department of Public Works would discuss it with TI and move forward accordingly. That's it?
Can I just ask a question on that? Brian, the letter from TI was, there's a lot of information there that there were gaps in what we had asked. And I don't know if the response was really accepting of a engineered wetland solution. And their comment especially about the idea is to reduce the number of outfalls, and the fact that we already spent a lot of money in looking at options for down on the beach area, and they were exorbitant costing in terms of that. So I think they didn't recognize that or didn't know about that. And I don't know that they are correct in saying about the number of outfalls as opposed to the quality of the outfalls that are there, right? If the wetlands can certainly do it, then the water coming from wetlands should be almost neutral in terms of what comes through them. So I think they need, while I agree that some of the questions around the technical stuff, in terms of, I'll say wordy technical stuff as opposed to the actual technical operation are probably warranted, but I think they just need more information on what we had done. Because, I mean, we got to go back to them for approval again for the study, for the
No, so they've got no real control over if we want to do the study or not.
Yeah.
What they're doing is pointing out things like you just said about the outfalls. So what they're saying is what the federal government wants is to eliminate or reduce the number of outfalls, where we're looking at decentralizing, so we would end up with, instead of one outfall, we'd have 5 or 6 outfalls.
Mm-hmm.
So that's things I'm going back and clarify with them before we move it forward.
So,
And they did contradict themselves. In one spot they said we had too much information, in another spot they said we had not enough and stuff like that too. So
so the discharge from an engineered wetland is considered an outfall?
again, that's questions I have to go back and ask them. I believe any discharge from any system is considered an outfall.
Okay.
I believe.
Even if it's clean water?
I believe so. Maybe the CAO might be able to answer that better. He was in that field before.
That really struck me
Yeah.
as strange.
It was, and then, like I said, that email was received on the day that the tender closed. So it was I just let the tender close and we'll deal with it from there.
Okay.
Okay. With going down over the others, the panel installation in the drive pump station, working on scope, so that's still underway. The one thing that I got to ask, and I had it here as a note, the junior field extra netting will be installed over the next few weeks. Like, do we install the netting this time of the year, or do we take it down?
Yeah, so the netting, that's the cabling and the netting, so that would have to all go up and then just be pulled back. Right?
Okay, so
Yeah.
tie back, okay.
Yeah.
All right. The playground, I noticed up there in upper three corner, that's, up there, it looks lovely, even little bench and everything, and the grass and everything up there, it's people to know about it. Everything up at the History House is all done. Anyway, anybody, I don't think there's anything else in here for that part. Now I'm down to the multi-year capital works. Road work project. This project is completed and the 10-month warranty inspection has been completed. There's some additional drainage work required on Quarry Road extension. It was determined after the other work in the area was completed that an addition catch basin and piping is required to address some pooling of water. The Corporate Services Department is calculating the projected surplus for the project. And when the total is determined, a motion to extend or an amendment project may be required to spend the remaining funds. Okay, I've got a motion here for the common generator project. A motion to approve change order number 2, which deals with some extra engineering work required in the amount of $3,500 plus HST. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions?
One question. Was this our delay, Brian? I'm assuming the $3,500 in engineering was because of the time change, time delay in getting to this point in time?
Yeah, so in this case, it definitely was on, well, it was on our side for sure, because we were waiting for the open space one to close out so we could reallocate the money.
Okay. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And the stormwater mitigation, the consultant for the project, how do you pronounce that? Equathona Drafting and Consulting Company is working on the design and tender. Only one question that I had in here is that there's Bridge Road, I think I read it in here, that there were some questions about moving. So far, property owners are not in favor of work happening along their properties. So happens the same as?
Sure. So there's basically 4 areas that we're looking
Yeah.
at working in there, which I got listed. One part of the project requirements before we go to tender is that we have buy-in from adjacent property owners, in some cases property owners. So when we reached out to property owners in Bridge Road area, Bridge Road and Indian Mill Line, so that river area there was some reluctance to go along with what we wanted to do there. So what we did, we jumped on to the next areas. So the Whiteways Pond one, like I spoke to the property owners up there, and they're all okay, and we're working on the Gully one right now. So that's the reason there's a small change order as well, because we're sort of jumping around to different spots as such.
Okay.
Sorry, Brian, what was the issue on Bridge Road?
It's not that actually Bridge Road, it's Indian Mill Line. So it's property owners that backs on the river between Bridge Road and Indian Mill Line. So their properties go back tight to the river in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
And they didn't like the design that we're looking at doing there and losing some of their trees and stuff like that. So we decided to, instead of letting that slow us down any further, we decided to just jump to the next section.
But we're gonna go back and do that one in the same...
We will go back around and have another look at it, yes. Yeah.
Because that was for the flooding that came down where Cape Codner and all, that was major, remember years ago?
That was one of the properties that I had discussions
Yeah.
with, and I got emails back from them as well, so,
Okay,
yeah.
all
Is there an
right.
alternative, Brian? Is there...
The alternative may be a completely different design of what we're looking at doing there, so we're looking at doing berms. So it may end up being retaining wall recon blocks or gabion baskets or something like that. So I also say that's going to take a bit more engineering design to it. So that's the reason we jumped away from that and moved on to our next one, so we can get the money spent within our allocated times.
Okay. I have a motion to approve change order number 2, which deals with some extra engineering work required in the amount of $2,000 plus HST. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
Same question, Brian, on that. I know this project in particular was long delayed because of the engineers themselves. In terms of the wait, when we first went in their hands, if my memory serves me right.
Same engineering company, actually, on both projects. Same engineering company for both projects, actually, for the other one as well. But again, like I say, it's been a while, I guess, trying to get the approvals from the property owners. And like I say, because we had it phased out between Bridge Road and Whiteways, and now we're phasing between Whiteways and the Gully. So there's a little bit of extra work there, so that's required.
And this one has nothing to do with Bridge Road now, so Bridge Road had to be a complete
So yeah,
redesign, right?
Bridge Road is going to be something we're going to have to look at after the fact, yeah.
Okay, any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Water and wastewater projects. Land acquisition, the process has been started. Am I allowed to ask, because that was one of my questions, what portion of land owned by the province and transferred to the town was received from the minister? A process has been started to have a portion of the parcel of land owned by the province transferred to the town. The letter was received. The private property owner has agreed to the town's proposal. Can I ask where that's to?
Certainly. So the first one is when the province expropriated land along for the bypass road up in the area of North Pond, they took in a larger strip of land than was actually required where the gravel road goes down. So that's one of the areas that we're looking at working within. So they're going to deed that back to the town. And the second piece, the private property, is actually between the pond and our current pump house, and that's where the actual structure is going to go. So that would have been the motion that was approved at the last council meeting to deal with the property owner there. And the property owner has agreed to what was put forward.
That, okay.
Yep.
All right, makes sense now.
Yep.
Great Pond Water Study, being kept informed as the process moves forward, so there's nothing new on that. Wastewater testing requirements. Wastewater testing and flow monitoring is continued at the outfall and being reported to the Federal Department of Environment as required, but I noticed that there's some trouble with the flow meter at the beach. But that's something that we need to have, so. Is there anything else? The recycling, I'm traffic calming, that's in the works. I'm going down to the fall bulk waste drop-off is the 3rd to the 5th, which is this weekend. It's supposed to be nice weather too. Winter sand, I've got a motion here for this, for the award. A motion to award the contract for supply and delivery of the town's winter sand requirements to Wares Construction in the amount of $62 per cubic meter. So moved.
Second.
Moved in, seconded, comments?
Brian, were they the only two quotes we got?
Yes.
And they're the 51% increase over last year, or 50% increase from sand from last year. Well, I guess he's moving towards 94.50 a cubic meter. Yeah, smart. Just on the winter sand and I guess when I was looking at that, it brought to mind the shelters going up in the south. Are we going to find some way of tracking what our proposed savings are from that shelter? Sorry, I know that doesn't exactly go into motion, but.
Well, it's valid.
Well, it's going to be hard to track really because at the end of the day, each winter brings you different challenges. So you may be, some years going to use more, some years going to use less. So we won't be able to determine what the actual savings was, where now it's easier to determine what the loss was than the savings.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
And whatever melts off won't be running out into the environment.
Yeah, so there should be no melt off really,
Okay.
or minimal.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried.
And the action tracking and standing items, the linkage to Pond Ridge area, applying for LTO for the route, and the hidden driveway signage on Indyme line. Is that something that now, I guess, where the trees?
Yeah, so there's a couple things there on the end that I've been working with, going back and forth with transportation infrastructure on. And the area supervisor, I guess he was, manager, director, whatever he was, has left his position, and no one didn't let anybody know, or they didn't let me know anyway. So I was emailing him, and there was no bounce back. And then finally when I found out, so I went on to the next best thing, which is director of the department. So I'm waiting to hear back from him on that now, on those couple items.
Okay.
The most important ones there in my mind would be the crosswalks on Torbay Road between Lower Street and the War Memorial.
Yeah,
So,
okay. And that's it, and the next meeting is on October 9th.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Any other questions on any of that? No? Okay. Recreation and Community Services, Councilor Manning.
Okay, we had our meeting on, excuse me, September 26th, and items discussed. It's all listed there, programs and events. The next Killie Coast Games for 2025, the date has been set. And certainly, as we've discussed earlier tonight, National Seniors Day and the various events that have been planned to celebrate. Facilities, the upper three corner pond and parks. We're looking at arranging a site visit on the soccer field for council, just to have a look and closer look and more in-depth discussion on where we go forward with maintenance on that. The upper three corner pond winter activity center, we were discussing various things for up there, and one of them, as Deputy Mayor was had spoke about the new trail up there, and are there some things we can come up with for up there? And like, as I said, we're in discussion there. And there was some information on land. A resident had contacted the staff about a potential sale of land across the street from in the upper three corner pond park to see if the town was interested. So that's just that's a discussion we're having, and just looking at see if it's anything viable or usable for us. Facility rental insurance, all groups now have this in place, and the director has found some funding streams and passed this on to the organizations to see if it's an option that they can apply on, and see if there's any help there for them. And then next thing is stage, pipe and drape. The stage has been received, and the pipe and drape should be here, this week. Now, the age-friendly assessment plan. Director met with the consultant about the exploring phase and next steps, And the next section is the engagement phase, which will include questionnaire to residents, as well as council, staff, community groups, and volunteers. So that's something that the director is working on and working closely on, actually. Next thing is safe community action plan. We had a nice discussion on that, and going to reach out to the RNC, do a session on bullying and such, and working with schools to discuss the issues they are facing at various age groups. And everything else, a potential proposal, that's the discussion that a local business is having with the director down there, and as we get more information, we'll bring that forward. Funding, the director is submitting 2 applications to Active Newfoundland funding stream. One's to support the town initiatives, and she's helping out support community organization activities there. And we started discussions on the budget. So there it is there. If you have any questions, certainly feel free to ask.
One question. I'll
Yeah.
put you on the spot. The soccer field.
Yes.
It notes that the season's coming to a close and we're waiting for a site visit. We're getting to the end of the season, I guess, to do any maintenance on the field, and this is the time of year, so this has to be done fairly quickly unless there's some other motive associated with it. If not, we'll be same with the ball field scenario. Won't be ready for soccer when it starts in the new year unless we do substantial remediation or maintenance to the park. So I'm just saying, I would expect to see a plan actually of some kind to come forward and say, listen, this is what we need.
Yeah.
And when we
Comparison.
need it, and it seems to be now. If we wait much longer, we're not gonna, if it gotta be resodded or done whatever, then it needs to be done like almost right away.
Yeah. And that's a discussion myself and director and, the committee are gonna have this week, so to try to get something out, and you're absolutely right, it's something that needs looked at and started ASAP for sure. Yep.
We said that at the last meeting, that if they need to go in to do anything or reseed it or anything. One of the things I'm going to bring up in there, I had a comment on it, was about lights around the trail. I don't know if that's something that we can get with the ones that been in there over the weekend. And you're talking about that even as a budget item, some LED or whatever lights.
Yeah, and that was discussed at our last meeting too.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
and
sure.
the other thing that I had is about safe community. I don't know if there's anything that can be done about the ATVs and what have you that are down on the playgrounds and what's happening down at the common. I don't know if there's, anyway, there must be something when you've got those bikes that are in on the play, actually on the playground.
Yeah, I just heard about that. That
Yeah.
was something
Oh,
on the go last week,
Yeah,
right?
I had a phone call on it, and
Yeah.
I went in and looked, and I'm thinking, okay, this is getting a bit, much now.
Yeah.
That,
Our municipal enforcement officers can enforce the ATV Act, right? So if they go in there and someone is stopped, they could actually impound that thing or issue a ticket.
well, yeah, because it's getting worse, like apparently a small child almost got
Right.
ran over there the weekend.
But people have to report it though.
Well,
to
and that's
town,
right.
Not just talk about other
Yes.
people.
It'd be worthwhile, and I know that Brian touched on that with a concern that was in Forest Landing somewhere. But I think we really need to promote that and get Cameron to do something with that number about calling the RNC and really putting that out there, so, because that was a suggestion that,
We put that out last week.
We just put that out, actually.
oh, was that
Yeah, we
right
put it-
about the calling? I didn't, because
Yeah.
usually I'm pretty good at sharing that
No,
information, right?
myself and Kerry put together a post to
Yeah.
go out on our media, and it included the contact
That
information
number?
for the RNC.
Yeah, no, that's good to
Yeah.
put that in there rather than
So that's already-
calling, calling anybody.
Already been done, yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
all right.
thank you. Thank you, Councilman.
And that's it.
All right, liaison committees, Atlantic Mayor's Congress, I got no update. Suspect I'm gonna get an email soon about the next meeting. I don't think I'll be attending. I got scarce holidays left at work, and I got $0 left in my budget, so two big impediments. But if anybody else would like to go, I'll send it out when it comes out. Intergovernmental affairs, I guess we kind of talked about that a little bit earlier, about the fact that asked the MHA to follow up for us on that letter to two ministers regarding the fire study. Jack Byrne.
No update yet.
Okay,
We
thank
should have a
you.
meeting soon, though.
Northeast Avalanche Joint Council.
We got our next meeting next Wednesday.
Okay, RNC, Sandy gave a brief update on that earlier. Torbay Volunteer Fire Department. Councilor
Okay,
Manning.
I do have a motion there, but first, before I do that, I want to take the opportunity to thank Councillor Michelle Martin with Flat Rock. She attended her last meeting, this meeting was the last meeting. She's retiring from council, effective tomorrow, actually. And certainly her position as fire department liaison for Flat Rock. So she certainly thanked the department for the time they put into training and calls. But the department also wished Michelle all the best and thanked her for her support, because she's been with the fire hall for a number of years, and she certainly was a great asset there to her, to the fire department for sure. And the chief presented her with a gift on behalf of the department, and I know it was hard for her to leave, but from my perspective, it's certainly a great big thank you to her. And I know the department certainly gave her a huge thank you for all the help that she's given them over the years. So I just wanted to bring that up there. And the next thing is, I have a motion here. At their last meeting, the general meeting had the nomination committee presented an eligibility list for upcoming elections in October. And I have the, gosh, I can't get this out. Sorry. The fire chief needs to be motioned here, so this is what I have. Council required approval for the position of chief as per fire and emergency constitution, and the fire chief regulations under the Municipalities Act 1999. All other positions were finalized by members. The position of chief must be approved by council. Rodney Goody was acclaimed to the position of fire chief, so the motion is, sorry, I read the wrong thing, that the town of Torbay appoint Rodney Goody as fire chief with the Torbay Volunteer Fire Department, who shall administer the fire department in accordance with the responsibilities set out in the fire chief regulations under the Municipalities Act 1999. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Comments?
Just congratulations, I guess. Yeah.
He's still here?
He stuck around, yeah.
Yeah.
We've been really lucky that we've had great chiefs and the tradition continues. So thanks very much for your service, Adam.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're doing a great job.
Yeah.
And just like to say the same thing, congratulations and thank you for your service.
Yep, thank you, Chief, and congratulations on
We have to vote.
another successful nomination process and acclamation. And, it's just 1 year, right? 1 year, each year you have to do it, or 2 years? Okay, perfect. Anyway, good luck going forward. Back to you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. All right,
And that's it for me.
excellent. Urban Municipalities Committee. Deputy Mayor.
There hasn't been a meeting since
Right.
the last one.
Since CBS, okay. The next meeting will be at convention in November. All right, notice of motion, we have none. New business, only me. And I just want to thank everybody for the work that they put in over the last couple of weeks since we had our last meeting. You continue to do a good job, and I appreciate it. And